Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Sunday, December 27th. The year's 2020. Let's talk trading. Time for the weekly open and gap. But first, I hope everybody had a nice, safe, fun holiday weekend. And I just want to say thanks to all the people that took time out to wish me a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. That's always nice hearing kind words. So, you probably know by now that these videos are for educational purposes only, and your results may differ from mine. And you should probably also know by now that on every trade you have to have your stop loss in place so you do not lose more than you're willing to lose on any one individual particular trade. Okay, gaps have been filling so far. We are, what, 5 hours into the trading day, and we've got two gaps that haven't filled. Nope, make that three, four gaps that haven't filled. And it looks like Canadian pairs are the ones that haven't filled, with the exception of the Swiss franc and the Japanese yen right here. But we've got a CAD here and a CAD here. So that's interesting. What's going on with the Canadian dollar? As far as the pound dollar, you can see we're putting in the opening range for the week here. We're above the opening range for the month and above the opening range for the year. We're 318 pips above the yearly open and 59 pips below that yearly high. And who knows, maybe it'll push it up higher for the end of the year. We'll have to wait and see. As far as inside bars go, well, we've got about a handful on the daily, weekly, and monthly, so not too much inside bar action this last week of the year. Okay, so far, not much of a range, but as I said, we're only about 6 hours, 5 minutes short of 6 hours into this trading day. Pivot point, as you can see, was within the buy zone, so no real bias. Now, somebody asked out on the YouTube comment about the pivot point. It's just I use the standard pivot point calculation. You take the previous day high, low, and close. You add those three together. You divide by 3, and you get a number, and that's called the pivot point. Very simple formula, nothing esoteric. And it just so happens that for some strange reason, a lot of traders use that pivot point, and it's kind of almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. As you can see here, range 45, range is large enough, but only by 5 pips. Not much range. I like to see it closer to 60, 80, or even 100 before I really start looking for those rat reversals. But it doesn't mean you can't trade these. Once again, we took out the pivot point. Here's the weekly pivot, and the weekly pivot's computed the same way, except you use the previous week's high, low, and close. You add those three together, divide by 3, and you get a number, and that's where the weekly pivot is. So let's look to see if price hits 1.344, let's call it 4746, somewhere around there. We did not hit the daily pivot. Friday's daily pivot was missed. Only missed pivot so far this year. I'm sorry, this month. We do have a few missed pivots this year, as you can see. For the week's just opening, so we can still look to take that pivot. Let's check. So that's 34.47, 34.65. So if it takes out the weekly, it'll take out that daily. Let's look at the month. We've already taken out that pivot. So as you can see, we haven't missed a pivot since May of 2018, and then you had to go all the way back to 2014 for a monthly pivot to be missed. We're in the upper wick zone right now. As you can see, we opened there. We popped out a little bit and came right back into it. And the ranges, we're still early in the day, but we can go over, the last few days. You can see here from 133 up to 310. That's quite the difference there. High minus low. You can see the high minus close. So for you rat reversal traders, you can see here there's money to be made, and close minus low. Once again, for you rat reversal traders, money to be made trading those reversals. High minus open, you can see here 1 day ago 132, but open minus low was only 1, so the buy zone didn't even trigger on those past couple days. And looking at the ATR range, I need to move this over to the profile that I use during the week too, to show how these ATRs get taken out. So right here's the open plus the ATR 5. I'm sorry, the half of the ATR 2 right here, and then looks like ATR 5 is here. And for those of you wondering, what am I doing with all of this? What we're doing is we're doing two things. One, we're saying here's the open. Let's add half the ATR to it. And then let's add, and this is half of the minimum ATR, where we calculate all the ATRs from ATR 2 up to ATR 14, pick out the min and the max. So right here, here's the half, and then here's the half of the ATR 5 right here. So we get this range, and then what we also, and we do it going the other way also. So that's the ATR off the open. But we also look at the ATR off of the low and off of the high. So here's the daily low, current daily low, plus the ATR 5 up here, and then the current daily low right here, plus the ATR 2, which is actually right here. And then we do the reverse where we subtract it from the current daily high. We get it the high right here. So you can see the ones from the open, they stay static, but the ones from the current high and low move. So one's a dynamic and one's static. And then just a simple, the horizontal line price chart here. Looking at, we've got the wall mall lines here, and then along with the rest of the sweet spots. Now, let me think. Somebody was asking me something about indicators. I guess they wanted to know which indicators I use. And as you can see here, we've got an 18, a 17, and a 20. So sometimes I put together these templates using indicators from different donational years. And then sometimes I'll put together a template that, let's see here, we've got actually two. We got the smart rat zone and the multimeter candle color. I was looking for one here. And we just have the dashboard, but here on the chart, you can see everything comes from the motherload file, which is over at Kreslik.com. Now, I was trying to remember. Oh, here we go. Here's one right here. As you can see, here's SDK pivots that I modified. That's also in the motherload. In fact, I have to upload a new motherload because I updated, or I modified an indicator that I found that I think some people might like it. And here's another where here we've got the bars ago pivot, which is, you can't really see it here, but that one, that's a donational. But the other ones, because you don't, unless you just want to be searching for missed pivots, find out how many bars ago they missed it. but you've got the mid dots to show the pivot, the missed pivots here. Right here shows all the missed pivots, and then the missed pivots plot. So if it hasn't been filled either on the day or afterwards, it shows up here, but these are all the ones that actually missed on that day. So if it didn't take out the pivot on that day, it shows up here. So for example, you see there's 1224, but then the next one's 1106, but see here 1221, 1226, but they got taken out like the day after. So here's an example. This one got taken out here. So this one was on 1221, shows up here, but it was taken out on 1223. So it doesn't show up here, but it shows up here, just so you can see those things. And it also shows high minus open and open minus low. So if you were fading the pivot, you would see whether or not you would have made some pips. And then so you have the date, high minus open, low minus open. I guess that's really open minus low. Actually, I think I made it low minus open, so it's a positive number. But and then also open minus the pivot, how many points or pips there are there. So that's what that's about. I'm trying to remember if there was another question hanging out there. I'm really not sure, but I also I believe it was last week I put out the final batch for the 2020s, and maybe sometime next month or sometime February I'll come out with some 2021s. I got a couple on the drawing board. I was thinking about trying to get them out for 2020, but kind of ran out of time to test, and you know, sometimes I have to do things other than trading and coding. So so they'll come out next year. There's some goodies, I think. But I know what it was. Somebody was asking me about trading, and I may have mentioned this before. See, most of my trades really are horizontal line trades. They don't have a target per se, with the exception of the pivot point fade. You know, there we have a target where we're reaching, but everything else is just trading what you see at a horizontal line. I mean, price opened here, came down to this line, and you just go short. You know, price opened here, and at the time this would have been a green line, so you would have gone long. I mean, it's just really that simple. And the thing that you have to master in trading, especially trading this way, is yourself. Because number one, you can't second guess the trade. If the trade appears, you take it, because you know statistically over the long haul you're going to win. So that's the first hurdle. You just have to do it. And there's so many people want to add things and try and filter out the losing trades, and you'll wind up filtering out the big winners. I mean, there could have been something right here that you filtered out, and there was a possible 10, 20, 30 pip trade, and you wouldn't want to filter that out. But you don't know when it's going to happen, so you just have to take it. Trust in the system. That's the big number one. And number two is properly sizing your trades. So you don't go too big and you don't go too small. You go just right, you know. So those are two crucial things in trading, that even if you're not trading this method, you know, you need to take your signals and you need to have the proper position size. And then you just have to also realize that not every trade's going to be a winner. Take the loss, move on, wait for the next trade. It's pretty much that simple. So, fellow traders, once again, wishing you a happy holiday season, a safe holiday season. And when you're trading, always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. And if you're new here, remember to click subscribe and click share, click the bell so you get notified.